Hey y'all, figured I'd come out with a video here. Basically, I put out a short clip here a few days ago, maybe a week ago, um, where I was making strawberry jam, and somebody commented and mentioned that I should do a tutorial type of thing. And honestly, I'm not really into the tutorials where I got to go in and show every little, aspect of what I'm doing, the cooking down and the jarring things up. And it's just too much work and too much of a pain, in my opinion. There's lots of other people on YouTube you can go watch doing those things, if you don't already know how. Um, but, I did figure that I would go over the recipe that I use personally and, basically, uh, a few other things along the way, and we'll just kind of flow with it and see how it goes. Um, when it comes to, canning up strawberry jam, I grow my own strawberries. I use one variety, and they're called Hanois. I think that's how you pronounce that. And the reason I use that variety is because they do well in the climate, the area that I'm in. So, they're June bearing strawberry. So, typically you'll get production, from end of May on through June, and maybe a little bit through July. Mine this year, and a lot of mine this year, were actually first time fruiters, and did very, very well. And mine fruited for 2.5 months, which is absolutely insane. Um, I got decent production off of them, and I was really happy about that. And I'm definitely have more work in my hands because I got a bunch of runners that are popping off right now. Um, anyway, that's the variety I use, and I'm here in Southern Oregon, so for a lot of folks, your climate's probably a lot different than mine. You're going to want to do your research if you're growing your own stuff. Uh, anyhow, so when it comes to processing, after I pick, I wash, I clean, make sure everything's good to go there, cut everything up, lay it out on a tray on wax paper, throw it in the freezer, freeze it all up, and then bag it all up. And then when it comes time to do cook down, I will take roughly 3 gallon bags of strawberries, which roughly equates to, give or take 20 cups of mashed berries is what you're going to want to use. I take all those, I take 3 bags, throw them into pots, cook them down to where they're, about room temperature. And then I will measure out 20 cups of mashed strawberries. And, anything else after that, you can, use it on something else, slap it on some bread, eat it, do whatever you like with it. Um, that's what you're going to use for that. And then you're looking at 10 cups of granulated white sugar. And, you can use honey. There's a couple different other sugar substitutes or sugar alternatives, um, or different sugar in general. But most people use the most unhealthy, processed white sugar. So we're sticking with that. And then there is 1 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Once you've got your strawberries, your mashed strawberries, and measured out at 20 cups, and you've brought that up to room temperature, that's when I add the lemon juice, and 1 cup of lemon juice, and stir that in really well. And then as it begins to heat up more, I will gradually start adding my sugar and stirring that in. And it'll get to thicken in a little bit. And I absolutely use no pectin whatsoever. I try to stay away from pectin. if I can, at all costs. There's pectin naturally in those berries, and I just don't like adding things that really don't need to be there. Yeah, my cook down time is going to be a little bit longer, but so be it. I would rather have to be standing over the stove for a little extra time versus adding something that shouldn't probably be in there to begin with, that wasn't created in the berry itself. Um, so anyway, after you've got those two things added into your mashed berries, at that point, you're just looking at a lot of cook down time, and you're just going to want to bring that to a rapid boil and, stir very often. Me personally, I'm stirring almost nonstop. I'll take like 30-second breaks. I'll stir for 30 seconds and then, hold off for 15, 20 seconds and let it, roll with the boil and then stir, because I just don't want burnt anything in my food. It's just, I'm not okay with that. I don't like dealing with it. Um, so I'm a stickler when it comes to that sort of thing, and I'm constantly stirring. And I will warn you that with this recipe, it did take me approximately 3 hours of cook down time, but it was well worth it, in my opinion. And this batch of jam in particular was probably one of the best batches that I've ever made. I was super, super happy with it. And, I had other people that were just amazed with it as well. So, of course, that was great. Um, and, it's one of those things where, yeah, it's it's time consuming, but if you're at home and you're just kind of find yourself bored or whatever, it's like, why not give it a shot? And generally, when it comes to uh, figuring out when your jam is pretty much ready, when it's set up and good to go and you're done cooking it down, um, you know uh, basically you just grab a plate, throw it in the freezer, and once your sauce or your jam and the pot starts thickening up pretty well, it feels like it's getting harder and harder to stir. Take a little bit of that, slap it on that cold plate, throw it back in the freezer for 2 minutes, and pull it back out, and give it a good push with your finger. And if it balls up, at that point, you're probably pretty much there. And once you got it into the jars, um, and after you've processed it and they've all cooled off and sealed, you should be able to tip that jar, and it should just it should run just a little bit, ever so slightly. You don't want it to be gelatin per se, where there's no runniness to it at all. Um, so anyhow, and I don't know if I already said this, but I use 20 cups of strawberries, 10 cups of sugar, and 1 cup of lemon juice, fresh squeezed lemon juice, um, because with that recipe, it works out for the sized water bath canner that I use, because it holds 8 pints. So, for not all people might, want to be making 8 pints all at once. Um, but for me personally, it's like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go all out. I'm not gonna. There's just no point in me doing 4 or 5. Just doesn't make sense to me. Um, but if you need to, it's not hard math to figure out. You can break down the ratios, and I guess if you need some kind of help with that, just throw me a comment or whatever. Um, uh, let's see. I guess I should mention that you can actually use this recipe with lots of other fruits too. Raspberries, uh, blueberries, peaches. Um, I've done them all. So, um, and it's just a really good all around recipe. Um, I don't know. I just don't know if I have a whole lot more to say now at this point. Nothing's really rolling to the top of my head. Um, I guess, for whomever watches this video, if you have, a question, feel free to ask. I guess I do ask you guys to, like, share, subscribe. This used to be, kind of a one way, this channel was originally targeted at content around one topic, but I think it's gonna kind of become that kind of channel where it's broadly focused around just whatever the heck I decide to throw up. So we'll see what comes at you guys here in the future. Um, I have been a little bit under the weather for the last few days, but I'm snapping back out of that, and I plan on doing some outdoor activities and getting back out there. So maybe I'll get some footage of some of the things I'm going to be doing and throw it up for y'all to see, and we'll see if you enjoy that. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Y'all have the rest of a good day, and I will talk to y'all soon.